So one of the most clear memories I have of clairaudience was when I was at home with my family. I was washing the dishes, and my kids were playing in the other room with their dad. And I was thinking to myself, you know, how sad it was. This is a religious trauma thing. I grew up in the Mormon church, and they teach, you know, if not everyone is an active member of the church, if they don't pay them money, then their family can't be together forever. So I was thinking about that because my ex-husband wasn't active in the church. He didn't care about it. So I was like, how do I fix this? And my heart was so broken about it. And right as my heart dropped into this sorrow, I heard a man yell. Like, it was more like an agonized cry. And it was long. It was like, you know, it was frustrated too. And I dropped the dishes. I was so scared because I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, where did this come from? The window was closed. I was checking all around me. I asked my husband at the time if he heard anything, and he said no. I was like, wow, okay, so I'm going crazy because I hadn't experienced something like that before. And that night I was like, wow, I wonder, like, if it's clairaudience, then there's this spirit that's mad at me. I'm doing something wrong. I always think I'm doing something wrong. And it took some time, but as my psychic abilities started developing and I started getting clarity about who this spirit was, I discovered that it was my ancestor, Lorenzo Hillhatch. And the reason my ancestor yelled was not because he's angry at me, but because he was so devastated that his family is still under these toxic beliefs that the church is still harming his family the way it harmed him with lies and untruths. And this ancestor became one of my closest and dearest friends. And what he did, as I continued to communicate with him and develop my relationship with him, he actually helped me wake up to the toxicity of the church I was a part of, and also the toxicity of my environment that was making me physically sick. And I also felt compelled to read his journals because he kept a journal from the years 1855 to 1906. And in his journals, I realized that I was just an echo of him. The generational trauma that started back in the 1800s had snowballed all the way into my life. We shared a lot of the same trauma and a lot of the same physical symptoms of that trauma. And so that was the beginning of my healing journey. And it's been so incredible that this angel has walked me through every step of the way. And we actually even wrote a book together. It's called Always Worthy, because it's from my experience with him that I realized I didn't need to look outside of myself for my worth or validation or anything like that, that I have been worthy all along. He gave his life to the toxic organization that I did as well, and it really messed everything up for him. So in this book, he helped me write this book, and he was like, okay, we're going to start at the very beginning. So I start with my child self, and I go throughout my whole life. And then I go through his whole life using his journals. I paraphrase them for you. And it's fascinating to see how they mirror each other. But through both of our stories combined, you can see how narcissistic abuse actually manifests in the body. And the truth that comes through this is that we can overcome that. We can overcome chronic pain. We can overcome religious trauma. We can reclaim ourselves and our power by discovering that we've always been worthy. And all of these ideas that we have from this 3D realm, you know, people who have been operating under toxic beliefs and ideas for generations. And it's not just the LDS church that I'm talking about, it's everything. It's like of our culture and society, we can rise above and really tap into our strength and our power by knowing who we are. And we can heal from the inside out by doing so.